Hi guys, we're here at MatFest. My name is Ed, at Channel Factory. I'm a sales director, and I'm here with the lovely Chrisa. She's head of sales and social at Mindshare UK. Chrisa, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Ed.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us at Conscious Conversation at Channel Factory.
Thank you so much for inviting
How
me.
you finding MatFest?
I think it's absolutely wild.
It
So
is.
many people.
It's literally mad, isn't it?
It's absolutely mad. I saw so many people that I haven't seen for many, many years, so it's actually brilliant to be here, and I feel quite grateful. So thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me.
Honestly, it's a pleasure having you. Well, we're going to talk about conscious. So just to start with, like, what's conscious? What does it mean? When you hear the word conscious, what does it mean to you?
I think conscious is more about making decisions and acting in a way that actually matches your values. Not only your values, but world values, values that you want to bring about to the world, especially when it comes to advertising, or especially, maybe on your day to day, but also within advertising, because we work in advertising, right?
Yeah.
So I think when we talk about conscious within that advertising realm, is about making decisions that reflect your values, and particularly the values as a company. For example, Mindshare's values is all about good growth, as you're probably aware. We try to be in that realm. We have a suite of products that allows us to advertise better and urge our clients and consult our clients to create advertising that is within that conscious space.
Yeah.
An example of that is the data ethics compass. So we consult them on whether the data that they collect are ethically collected. They're collected in an ethical way and they're doing the right thing. We're not saying that we're not pushing our clients to grow their business, but we're doing it in a way that it's sustainable and it does good as well at the same time. So I think this is conscious for me in an advertising spectrum.
You cover like so many points that I really want to debrief a little bit. So
Go for it.
you mentioned like values and Mindshare values and everything.
Yes.
It's like, how is that translating your values to Mindshare values? Are they aligned?
Yes, absolutely. I come from a diverse background, and I'm extremely passionate about
Yes.
diversity. Not only, in my day-to-day role when it comes to managing my team, when it comes to hiring, when it comes to, pushing talent, but also how do we consult our clients around diversity and inclusion? Because a lot of companies do talk about it, but do they really understand it?
I completely agree. Like, that was going to be my other question, because like you said, you're talking to your clients all the time. When they talk about conscious, why is conscious for them? Because that's another thing. Like, your definition of conscious might be a slightly different to conscious from a, I don't want to say a client brand or anything, but any of your clients might be slightly different. So I would like curious to understand, like, how does that translate what Mindshare is trying to do for the media industry, and how it's driving and helping all your clients to go to that same place?
I think what Mindshare is trying to do for the industry around conscious advertising is giving advertising a purpose. So I think it's not going to be relevant for our clients, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But we are in a position in our relation with the clients that we challenge them sometimes, and that's the beauty of the client relationship, that they allow us to challenge them. And sometimes you discover that we and them as well, they think about areas that they haven't thought about before, so they like their thing to be challenged, and I think that is the value of that client relationship between us and our clients, seeing that evolve, seeing them bringing a new definition into how conscious advertising is being done, but also their own purpose as a business. There will be some businesses that, naturally have that level of consciousness and that level of purpose. For example, Ben & Jerry's is one, so it's all about activism, and they have a very strong, I would say, purpose value. So we didn't actually have to challenge them on that, but there are other clients that haven't necessarily thought about it. And we are kind of having those conversations in these areas, and it's wonderful to see how open they are to this.
You mentioned the word challenge. What are the challenges that they're actually highlighting to you?
I think, a few things I can think about conscious advertising is diversity and inclusion that we thought about and that we talked about, and I think is not yet well understood. And the reason why it's not yet understood is because of still, unfortunately, the lack of representation on various levels, and that the within an organization, yes, you might have diverse backgrounds, but do you have diverse backgrounds in decision-making roles, right? So that's the level of thing that we want to get to. So these people, if you're not in a decision-making role, you don't necessarily have the impact of making influence and making decisions and potentially, defining how this advertising is going to be crafted in a way that is conscious and is reflecting diversity. So I think there is still a lot of work to be done around that level, because I think that's a challenge. There are a lot of clients who want to understand diversity better, but they don't necessarily do yet.
That's
we
so
are lucky
fascinating.
enough. Yeah, we are lucky enough to live in an environment within Mindshare that I'd like to think there's still obviously work to be done, but we are given the opportunity internally to raise our voices, all those kind of diverse ideas, all of these diverse backgrounds to be brought about. And if there are sort of things that can be improved with diversity and inclusion in mind, I think we are given the opportunity to highlight those things.
So you mentioned the decision makers at that level, the C-suite, they don't have that background. Do you think that's where the issue is at the moment when it comes to
not only the issue, right? So there are many facets to the issue. So potentially that's part of the issue that I'm sure the industry is kind of pushing to change. But until we get there, I'm an optimist generally, so I do like to see that even though, the people in the C-suite, as you said, the decision makers, the decision makers, are not necessarily from diverse backgrounds, they do allow those voices to be heard.
Right.
And that's what's important. That's what we want to nail. So for those people that are not necessarily from diverse backgrounds and haven't experienced the essence of not being heard because of what you look like, because of where you come from, because of how you sound, your accent, to understand that for those reasons, at some time in your life, your voice was silenced. To give that opportunity for those voices to be heard is extremely important, and we need to, as leaders, push those voices to be heard. And I think we also need to challenge ourselves as leaders, but also challenge other leaders as well in the industry. And I think that's where things are going to start changing. It's very easy to tick the diversity box in a campaign, but how do we make people feel that they're included? How do we make people feel that, well, that ad speaks to me?
Yes.
They really nailed it.
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
That is so true.
When an ad is created by people from diverse backgrounds versus not, and is done in particular diversity.
You mentioned
And that says a lot.
You mentioned ticking the box exercise, and I love that you brought that up, because I think, well, this is my own opinion obviously, but I love to hear your opinion. I love the advertisers. I love the things that we see in recently. They don't seem like genuine. They seem like a ticking box exercise. A good example, like last month was like Pride Month, and obviously everyone, all the advertisers, let's speak to the gays, let's speak to the trans, what are you doing the other 11 months? Are you actually speaking to them again? So what are your thoughts on all this ticking the box exercise?
I think it's all about understanding your brand ethos as a company and as a brand. And I would say, yes, it's great to support all these different communities, but don't make it forced, because when it's forced, it's very obvious.
Yes.
And it can turn back as a boomerang, in my opinion, as a brand reputation. A lot of companies have been blamed for greenwashing or gamewashing, for example.
Yes.
So I think it's just taking a step back as a brand and understanding your core values and asking yourself, do I have a place in that conversation?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to take part in every conversation that is going on in the industry, right? So take part in that conversation that you have something to say and you feel proud of. And obviously, as you say, if you haven't done much around, say, the LGBTQ plus community for such a long time, and all of a sudden you do things just during Pride, that seems a bit off.
Yeah.
And I think, advertising execs need to sort of question those actions a little bit more.
I've seen the industry moving forward, and I think we're going in the right direction. What do you think, this year specifically? There's a lot of DE&I conversation happening this year, because obviously all these communities, all these diverse voices, all these minority groups have been around for such a long time. It's been around forever, but it feels like this year it's been like massively focused, like a big focus across multiple agencies, across multiple advertisers. What do you think like this year in particular?
I think that there's multiple reasons. I think obviously, diversity will always be a, a big issue that everyone's going to be talking about for one reason. Then obviously, post Brexit, unfortunately, we have lost the capability to be
Right.
as diverse as we were because, we had access to talent that was not necessarily from this country, or, lack of migration, or I would say the slowing down of the migration within the UK has been a knock-on effect, has had a knock-on effect on diversity, and is something that people actually do care about. I think another reason is obviously because the diversity conversation, I think, happened, I want to say 5 years ago. It started happening, tends to be earlier. Obviously, the industry now has a lot more knowledge, is a lot more confident in what they can talk about, so they kind of have deepened the conversation now. It's not in the surface. So I think, it will always be a subject that everyone cares about.
Yeah.
But it just has become deeper naturally because of the experience that we have in the industry.
Nice. So, what do you think if you have to like pick something that we can do better, or where would you like to see our industry next year, for example, from my DE&I angle?
So I think because AI has come in, there has been obviously, with AI changing the way we do things, we need to be a bit more on top of, is AI, bringing about any bias, for instance. So there will be an aspect of diversity within AI as well that we need to safeguard, and especially us that we consider ourselves diversity champions, just ensuring that we're on top of that. Then the second thing, like I said to you earlier, is not just hiring diverse talent, but actually promoting, retaining and promoting that talent to go up to the top. And it's not an easy thing to do. We need better education internally within the more senior levels of what diversity means, bring about much more empathy and educate them on what those diverse community need to be promoted and to feel really and truly included. Because we talk about inclusivity. Let's do an event that is not just alcohol, great.
Yeah.
But that's not just it. How do we make people feel they can have the same opportunities and equal opportunities that someone else from a different background has, for example, or create role models, right? So we want more strong role models from diverse backgrounds that younger people and more junior people can look up to, and feeling confident that they can get there by looking at them. When I
Yes.
joined this industry, because I am from a diverse background, when I joined this industry, one of the things that struck me was questioning myself, can I reach the top? Because those guys over there, they don't sound like me, they don't look like me, so it was quite odd. So I would love to give those opportunities to younger people to feel that, yes, people like you can be up to the top. So how do we become better at this, in my opinion? So that's one of the things that for me is extremely important.
I love to see like what you're doing internally at Mindshare, and I know you're a big supporter from Conscious and everything. So thank you so much for literally for taking the time. Thank you so much.
Lovely talking to you as always.